Hi, I'm Anita Nayyar. I am a media expert and a media professional. I am currently the CEO for Havas Media Group in India and Southeast Asia. Today, I want to share a few management principles with you, which I got to know and learn much before I read Kotler or I went to a management school. And these are the principles that I learned at home, how our parents, when they managed our homes, and how we've observed them doing that over a period of time. For all of us, parents are people from whom we learn because they are the ones who've given us birth. They are the ones who've really brought us up and given us all the skill sets that we've always wanted to be successful in our lives. So while fathers are heroes and role models for their sons, I think mothers should not be left behind, and there is a lot of learning that has come through, especially by observing one's mom, because they've been homemakers all their lives, and believe you me, running a home is actually a full-time job. So while our fathers have always had access to the external world, they've been working, whether it's been in corporates, they've been interacting, they've been communicating. It's the mothers who've really been taking a back seat and running the home for us. There are three very, very important things. In fact, there are far many things that one has learned, and I think they are very handy in terms of your day-to-day working and management styles. It's just that we've not paid too much of heed to them. And today, when I draw synergies, I realize that there is so much that one has learned from your mom at home. There are three very, very important things. The first one is really the general management. The second one, for example, is financial management and budgeting, and the third one is relationships and resilience. And I'm sharing only these three. There are far too many that I can actually write a book on. Now, if you were to look at general management, just look at the way she's managed the home, whether it is the kids at home, whether it's the requirements at home, whether it's food, whether it is clothing, whether it is education, whether it is dealing with neighbors, whether it is dealing with relatives. You can interestingly see as to how your moms have been managing all these relationships together. And the learning there is that for a general management thing, you need to know your audiences very well. If I was to draw a parallel, and who are the mom's audiences? The mom's audiences are the husband, the kids, the relatives, the neighbors, everybody around you, and anybody and everybody, including the maids in the house whom she interacts with. So knowing the target audience is extremely important, because once you know your audience is when you will be in a position to really check out the needs and the wants and the demands of the audiences. And these are what is it that your kids need, what is it that your husband needs. Has everybody had their food? Is everybody's clothes washed and ironed? Are the maids taking care of the day-to-day chores in the house? How are you managing the maids in the house? So only once you know the audience, and the mom knows all these audiences, is when she will be in a position to really cater to or interact with them, or in a way really try and reach them. So if it's a teenage kid who's really going to college, learning a lot there, interacting with his or her friends, and when he or she comes back home, what is it that the mom needs to do to really get his attention, or to really take care of him or her, is something that she's done all her life. She knows when one comes back home from college, maybe one is hungry, so one needs food, right? And one needs to study, one needs to really be given everything on time. So these are really the little things that you gather to say that if one knows, as a manager, you know your audience, or even as a brand, if you know your audience, you know what their needs and wants and requirements are, and hence you try and connect with them and try and engage with them in whatever ways makes the engagement far more powerful. So this is really general management in the house, which one has learned. I think when we were kids, we used to see our mom doing all that, but today when I look back and I realize, yes, the general management is something that I learned from her at home. Now, coming to the second point of financial management and budgeting, moms, or homemakers are the ones who've not been working. Dads come back home, after working, and tell them, hey, listen, this is the monies that you have for the house for the month. This is my salary, and you need to manage the entire situation at home, the requirements at home, within this particular amount that I'm giving you or I'm sharing with you. So how do moms do their financial management? I mean, they know that they need to look at the requirements in the house on a day-to-day basis, whether it's groceries, whether it is things like fuel, whether it is paying the maids, whether it is buying vegetables, or whether it is dealing with relatives, because somebody, there might be some wedding in the family, somebody must be born, somebody it's somebody's birthday or whatever. Things like those, and both external and internal audiences, because what the kids want, whether they want milk in the morning and some breakfast with that, or whether they eat late, or whether the dad comes back home late and has to eat late, and hence she needs to do whatever she needs to do. Everything there she has to manage within the finances that have been given to her. Interestingly, the whole monthly budget is something that I saw my mom managing extremely well. She would really set aside monies for day-to-day things that were required. She would know in which month whose birthday or anniversary is there, and she would set aside some money for that. She would also know, for example, as to if there's a wedding coming in the family and things like that, and the fees that needs to be paid for the kids, the education, the tuitions, etc. And she would manage the finances within the money that she was given by the head of the family or by dad. And so this financial management from day one, in terms of how she would really allocate the finances to various expenses that she would want to carry out during the month, and budgeting from the perspective that after doing all this, she would actually see whether she is saving something or not. And if she's saving that on a month to month basis, then it ends up in a very positive EBIT at the end of the year, or a positive EBIT each month. And how to balance those months, so you would have some savings in a month, and you would spend extra in the other month. So this would automatically be budgeting from that perspective to ensure that there are savings enough in the next month or the third month, or a quarter, and you end up with a positive EBIT. Positive EBIT meaning good salary, good savings at home. So look at the parallels that you could draw from the financial management and budgeting that she's been doing all the months or all her life, managing the home. The third one, of course, relationships and resilience. I mean, it is very, very important to see as to how, if you were to look at it from a brand's perspective, how brands build relationship with their consumers or with their audiences. And similarly, moms would, build separate relationship with a husband, separate relationship with kids, which is internal, separate relationships with external audiences, the relatives, the friends, the neighbors, somebody who's coming home to work, etc. How do you manage those relationships and try and keep everybody happy and engaged? Is something nobody can do it better than moms, because they know their audience well. They know exactly who wants what. They know exactly what is it that needs to be done to keep everybody engaged and happy, so that the entire relationship management system works extremely well and everybody is happy. And if everybody is happy, obviously everybody is engaged with her. And a similar parallel on brands, because if brands build good relationship with consumers, they actually get loyal consumers. They get the trust of the consumer, and the brands are loyal to the consumers. And this goes back to building relationship with brands and engaging build relationship with consumers and building brands over a period of time in terms of brand loyalty as well. And resilience, of course. I mean, you can they're the ones who've taught us, especially moms are the ones who've taught us that try and it'll happen. So even if there are lows in life and if there are highs in life, one needs to learn how to manage them. So they've always been telling us that if this time doesn't stay, there'll be better times ahead, or if there are better times, please be prepared for the rainy day. So resilience throughout, in terms of how one would really react to different situations, and what is it that one needs to do to handle those different situations, is also something that one has learned from one's mom. So dads have always been heroes. Moms have been role models. My hero was my dad for sure, but my hero is also my mom today, because when I go back, I draw parallels, I see synergies in what is it that I've learned practically in house management or home management, as you would say, and applied it to my life, where I've seen that, I run a successful PNL. I have great relationships, wherever it matters, or great relationship with my associations, whether it's internal in office or external with clients, etc., and how over a period of time I'm managing the whole situation. So interesting times ahead, but I think if we just take a step back, uh, it's very important to really marry these learnings and to move ahead in life, because what you learn really practically on ground is something those management books do not really teach you, and there is nothing better than practical experiences. These were my 2 3 bits. There are a lot many other principles in management that I've learned at home from my mom. I'd like to share them at some later date. Thank you so much.